Alright, so now that you have a good understanding of the tools in Flash and how you can use them to create pictures and draw your animations and stuff, the next step, or the next thing I want to go over with you, is the timeline. In order to do that, the first thing I want to show you is that when you create a new Flash file, your new animation, there's one layer created and one blank keyframe. And what a keyframe is essentially, think of it as a blank frame, or sorry, as a blank page. And you can draw a picture on that page. So let's just go ahead and do that really quickly. Okay, so this is the ball that we're going to animate. Now notice how here in the timeline there are all these little boxes. Each one of these represents a what could be, or a placeholder for, no, I'm trying to think of what a good word is. Essentially, each one of those is just somewhere that you can put a keyframe. And a keyframe is like a new page. So here on this keyframe, right now our animation is one keyframe long. Until we add keyframes to all these boxes, they're meaningless. They're basically not there. But what we can do is, we've drawn our ball in the first keyframe. Now, in the second keyframe, we can right-click, and then we come up and we click Insert Keyframe. What that does is it creates a new frame, but also it copies the picture from the last frame and puts it on here. So, for example, if you were animating like traditionally to create a new frame, you would have to get a new paper and you'd have to completely redraw the object. And but what Flash does is it copies the object and it puts it on the new frame that you created. So now you have the exact same picture that was on the previous frame, on frame 1. When we inserted a new keyframe on frame 2, it copied the picture and put it in the exact same spot. This makes it so we don't have to spend as much time redrawing things, and it saves you a lot of time. So on frame 2, we can just move it over a little bit. Then we can insert a new keyframe, select the ball, and so now we're on frame 3, and it copied frame 2. And so now we're going to move it over a little bit. Then we'll insert another keyframe. We're on frame 4, and frame 4 at this point is exactly like frame 3. So we're going to select the ball, and we're going to move it over a little bit. And we'll just go ahead and do this one more time. Insert keyframe, select the ball, move it over a little bit. Now, as you can see here, we've created a very basic animation. It's 5 frames long, and each frame moves a little bit more than the last one. And what we can do is, if let's say that we wanted to completely redraw the a new frame, so instead of clicking Insert Keyframe, we can right-click and do Insert Blank Keyframe, and that will make it so it doesn't copy the picture before. It just gives you a brand new page that you can work on and start from scratch. And so we could draw something new here. So we'll just scribble something there. And so now the animation is the ball moving, and then suddenly new picture, right? So you can either insert a keyframe, which will copy the frame from before, and then you can move that picture around, or you can just insert a blank keyframe and draw something completely new. Also, what you can do is right-click and insert frame. What happens is, when you insert a frame is not a new page. Instead, it is just increasing the exposure of the previous keyframe. So when we added a frame, it made it so we're going to see this keyframe number 6, we're going to see it for 2 frames long, if that makes sense. So we can add another frame, not keyframe, just normal frame. So there are keyframes that are like blank pages, and frames that just continue showing the new keyframe. So we don't have to do these consecutively. In other words, I don't have to keep adding each individual one. If I wanted frame number 6 to last for, let's say, 10 frames, I could just come over to this frame right here, right click and insert frame, and it will increase the exposure all the way over to there. At which time I can insert another keyframe right there, and I can move this over, and then I could and you get kind of the idea, right? So there are keyframes which are their own piece of paper that can have has a different picture on it than any of the other keyframes, and then there are frames that are just an increased exposure, so it just shows the last keyframe for longer. So hopefully that makes sense to you. Like I said, I've never actually taught this to anybody before, so I'm not sure if that's the best way to describe it, but I think you get the picture. Now, there's something I want to show you. We're going to come back to frame 1, and that is layers. This right here, all of these frames that we've been working on have been done in layer 1. And there are two things that you can do with layer 1 right now. You can lock it by clicking right here. See, there's a little paddle lock picture. You click on that, and now layer 1 is locked. We can't edit it, we can't manipulate it in any way at all. And also, you can click this little eye icon right here, and it will hide it. So you can hide or else lock. For now, we're just going to leave layer 1 locked, and then we're going to come down here, and we're going to click New Layer. And that's going to add another layer to our animation. And the reason we do this, I'll just show you a quick example. We're going to come back down to layer 1, and I'm going to try and draw a line over this. If I want to erase this line or move it, I can't, because it has become part of this other line that it's meshed to, and it's cut this red line in half. So if I delete that, suddenly the picture changed, you know. It makes it a lot harder to just move things around having that line in there. So if you want things to overlap over each other, what you can do is, rather than drawing over each other and having them erase part of each other and mess it up like I just did by drawing that line through the ball, I can just create a new layer, and up in this new layer I can draw the line. Oops, draw the line, and now I can select this line independently of the ball that it's above, right? So you can put one thing above another, you can stack them however you want. It's important to know that if this layer, so layer 4 is above layer 1, which means the pictures in layer 1 are going to appear above and in front of the pictures of layer 4 are going to appear in front of layer 1, right? So we can reverse that by just dragging and dropping this, and now layer 1 is above layer 4. And that's about it for the timeline. Essentially, this allows you to do separate little animations and have things move differently without messing each other up, right? So as this animation is going on, this one picture is up on layer 4, is just holding still, and there's a lot you can do with that. You can use it as much or as little as you want, but I'm sure you'll find use for it. That being said, that concludes Operation Flash for animation. There is obviously a lot more to learn about Flash, and I plan on making some more detailed, or not more detailed, but I plan on making more advanced training on things that you can do with Flash later, but this gives you a good solid ground that you can go out and start making animations in Flash immediately. And you know all the basics, you know the core information, the tools, you know the timeline, and there's nothing stopping you. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you got a lot of value out of it. I can't wait to see what animations you can create, and I'll talk to you later.